Hello everyone, I'm Ramesh Mola, a senior member of the Junior Linux Users Group in IT Durgapur. We guess that is your enthusiasm for cybersecurity that got you here. So put on your black hoodie, install Kali Linux, change your Facebook cover photo to the edgy speak related to security that you can find. Yes, you're ready to become the next Elliot Elderson and hack the FBI with your 1337 command line tools that routers in your neighborhood living room that you always wanted access to. Coming to reality, cybersecurity isn't like it is shown in the Hollywood movie or a show. It is an art, it consists of many smaller forms of art, and I'll talk about them today. If we strip down everything, cybersecurity is protecting computer systems from theft or damage. Sounds simple enough, right? To start with, what is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity covers the process and techniques designed to protect networks, devices, programs, and data from attack, damage, or unauthorized access. There is so much data there beyond the screen you are glancing at, but we don't care to think the system that is securing it. Do we? More than 21 billion devices are connected to the internet are at risk. Companies all over the world are losing data as well as money from cyber attacks. The security is looked upon by the specialist behind the systems. The field covers a variety of work from penetration testing to architecture and analysis. IT security specialists, penetration testers, forensic computer analysis, security architects, and analysts have major roles to play. So, what are the common roles of a security engineer? A security engineer is tasked with monumental role of protecting the network and computer system of a company from any security threats or attacks. Their essential duty is to defend, they detect attacks, stay up to date with the systems, upgrade security measures, and keep with the latest attacks in the market.
So the question that most beginners have is how to learn about cybersecurity. There is no specific or a correct way to learn the concepts of cybersecurity. Like any other discipline, cybersecurity can be self-taught via various online resources such as university level cybersecurity courses, etc. The concepts that are known to cybersecurity practitioners are not very different from the IT topics that are used in development. What makes a hacker different is what he chooses to do with the knowledge that he has acquired. A developer might think to build up an interactive website or an interactive application, while a hacker finds vulnerabilities to exploit. Now, one can achieve this by building several applications on several open source frameworks and libraries, and parallelly finding vulnerabilities and trying out ways to fix those vulnerabilities to make the application more secure for the users. Now, doing this requires tons of research on single topic to exploit a certain vulnerability. And it is even tougher to find a vulnerability online in the first place. To get started, you can just play CTFs. But wait, what is a CTF? Now, CTFs are just a fun way to learn, develop, and practice a lot of cybersecurity concepts. A capture the flag competition or a CTF are special kind of information security competitions. In a CTF, there is a special piece of string called a flag, and as the name explains itself, the whole point of the competition is to find that flag. And to find those flags, players often have to solve several challenges. The challenges are purposefully designed as vulnerable websites or vulnerable applications. Teams gain point for every solved challenge, and generally, the more difficult challenges or the more complicated challenges fetch more points. There are broadly two kinds of CTF: attack defense style CTF and a Jeopardy style CTF. Now, in an attack defense kind of CTF, the competitors try to steal the flag from other competitors, whereas in a Jeopardy style CTF, the competitors try to steal flag from the organizers itself. Now, there are again several variations of this. There are examples where the flags are hidden in, let's say, some hardware devices. But for a beginner, Jeopardy style CTF is a very good starting point. And in this slide, you can see an example of flag format that is generally used in CTFs. Now, the other question that you may get is why CTFs are important. Now, CTFs are one of the best ways to learn cybersecurity skills like binary exploitation, web exploitation, reverse engineering, and lot more. They are also a great way to promote teamwork with like-minded cybersecurity enthusiasts by training your hacker persistence and patience. Well, you must be wondering by now, are CTFs legal? The answer to that is yes. They are legal and provide hands-on experience in testing your hacking skills. Generally, CTFs have challenges in various range of categories such as cryptography, web exploitation, binary exploitation, reverse engineering, forensics, and a few others. Let's start our discussion with cryptography. Let's take an example. Alice sends a message to Bob to meet her at a particular place. Now, what happens in between is, let's say Eve gets hold of that message and reaches there before Bob. And eventually, Alice ends up meeting Eve instead of Bob. And then Alice wonders how that message got leaked. And eventually, she realizes the fact that sending messages as plain text is quite unsafe. Here comes the role of cryptography. Now, cryptography is a method of protecting information and communication through the use of various encryption and encoding techniques so that only those for whom the message or the information is intended can read and process that. Let us also discuss some of the real world applications of cryptography. Examples like digital signing, browsing the daily web, confidential communications such as credit card transactions, emails, all require mathematical concepts and algorithms to transform messages into ways that are very hard to decipher and the communication can take place securely. What are some of the prerequisites to get started with cryptography? The particular field, cryptography, requires a good grasp of basic arithmetic concepts, little knowledge of Python for breaking the encryption algorithms, and there are several libraries like SageMath which help you in doing complex mathematical calculations.
Web exploitation challenges are about finding vulnerabilities in web applications and exploiting that vulnerability to find the flag. This involves system flaws or weaknesses in the source code. Usually you're provided with a URL or an IP address, and you have to exploit it by finding various flaws in it. For example, some of the common exploits include SQL injection. Some of you are aware of it, or bypass authentication, injection flaws, broken authentication, XSS, or CSR, etc. One can say that web exploitation is one of the most popular categories in India. Mastering this can change the whole point of view of developers while building web applications. This field is popular in programs such as bug bounty, where websites or organizations provide sum of money based on the type of bug found by the individual or group. A prerequisite to get started with web exploitations include basic knowledge of Python, JavaScript, PHP, and tools such as Bob Suite.
The category binary exploitation or pawn is a category where you need to pawn the binary running on the remote CTF server. To understand it better, let's first understand what is binary. A binary is compiled code. When a programmer writes code in a language like C or C++, the code isn't what gets actually ran. It is compiled into a binary and the binary is run. Binary exploitation is process of actually exploiting a binary. But what does that mean? In a lot of code, you will find bugs. Think of a bug as a mistake in code that will allow for unintended functionality. As an attacker, we can leverage this bug to attack the binary and actually force it to do what we want by getting code execution. That means We actually have the binary execute code that we say and can essentially hack the code. Those who are playing CTFs for a while and trying to learn binary exploitation might know that there is an awesome playlist on YouTube on binary exploitation and memory corruption by Live Overflow. But just in case you have tried to follow along with the playlist and face hard times on understanding stack, registers, and many more such concepts, that are maybe because this field of cybersecurity demands some basic knowledge of computer architecture, operating system, and a good grasp on x86 assembly. You should also have a good programming knowledge on C, C++. And during the learning process, you also need some tools such as GDB, the GNU debugger, to set breakpoints and analyze the behavior of your binary, check out the stack layout, and many more things. Coming to the decompilers, you should start with GHydra to get the pseudocode from the compiled binary, and Pontools, which is a very powerful Python library, is used to automate the exploitation part for the remote server. Moving ahead to the next topic, which is reverse engineering. Before understanding reverse engineering, you need to understand the keyword engineering in the context of software development. The engineering process in this field is the creation of a program that is pretty straightforward. You write a code and compile it, fix some bugs, write some more code, and compile it again. This process continues until you get your final fully functional binary. It's pretty simple, right? But before reaching to the end product, a tons of steps have been performed during the entire compilation journey. The thing to understand in reverse engineering is that every step you have lost some information, and reverse engineering is to get that information back. In CTF or in any real world reverse engineering challenge, is all about answering some questions like who did it, why they did it, how it works, is it changing time to time. Similar to the binary exploitation, we will get a compiled binary. We need to analyze it independent of language. The ultimate job is to crack the logic and retrieve the flag. It seems to be a tough job. And yes, it is, because most of the pieces of information are lost, and it becomes harder because things will be different on different operating system, and the decompiled code will be different for different languages. The ultimate goal is to get all the information from the binary code. You can also say that reverse engineering is the initial step for binary exploitation. So most of the computer science concepts or tools remain same for reverse engineering, but reverse engineering is all about practice. I would suggest you to start with 64-bit or 32-bit x86 assembly. Write some code and see how your C or C++ compiler translates your high level code into assembly. And these are the best tips from my side to start the reverse engineering. So, moving ahead to the last category, which is forensics. Digital forensics is the art of analyzing, identifying, recovering, documenting digital information. You can say it's a complete art of backtracking. This skill is essential for investigating compromised systems and networks for traces and capture files, such as network traffics, recovered hard drive images, and memory dump analysis to backtrack the procedure of the attack or exploit. One of the subtopics of forensics includes steganography, which is the practice of hiding secret messages inside another file that's not so secretive. For example, hiding plain text messages in an image file. In the CTF, in the forensics category, we are provided with the memory dumps or PCAPs or some corrupted files from which we need to extract data, which is nothing but the flag. Other than these five standard categories, there are some more categories like OSINT, cloud, boot to root style. Although the process of learning and mastering it remains the same. Do some research and implement it. Repeat this process until you got the flag. Always follow the try harder motto. Although we have attached all the important and best resources to get started and practice for all the categories. So don't forget to check out the description at the end of the video. Now, coming to the failures, which is the most important part of your success, there will be times where you will feel highly demotivated because this path is very challenging. But keep on trying, keep on learning until you got the answer. Don't try to ask anything during the contest. It hinders your own growth and it is unethical. Read write-ups of the problems after the CTF ends. Try to write your own write-ups. Make notes because it will help you a lot in a long run. One last thing, always remember this field is not like a sprint run where you will reach the winning line soon. Rather, it's a very long marathon where you need to run and learn every day something new.
Now you are aware what CTFs are, what are the various categories of challenges that are present in CTF. Now the next important question that you will have is where you can find CTF to play and what are the right CTF to choose. Okay, so let's start with the first question. There are a lot of people, groups, various teams, even university clubs, and some companies that organize CTF events around the year. And these are generally listed on a website called ctftime.org. You can see that in the slide, which was made by the hackers for the hackers. Now, a bonus thing that CTF Time provides is that the CTFs that are listed on CTF Time have ratings, which is super useful while choosing a right CTF to play. If you are a beginner, you should try to participate in CTFs which have a rating, let's say, less than 25. But this is not a hard and a fast rule. Remember, always playing easy CTFs won't be of much use in the long run. There are many cybersecurity platforms such as TryHackMe, Hack the Box, Over the Wire, Pico CTF, etc., where there are a lot of practice questions available, and beginners and even the experienced people can practice and enhance their CTF skills. The fact that there is always a CTF going on some place organized by someone in the world is pleasing at first. But when players and a lot of teams start participating in them, it gets very overwhelming. Because some CTFs are generally meant for the advanced players. So this is something that you should keep in mind, that whenever you are participating in a CTF, you should check the ranking. Otherwise, you might get demotivated at a very initial stage. Eventually, players have to increase their skills, the level of questions then they can solve, and start learning advanced concepts. As a team, each player should always prepare, practice, and pile up their skills either by reading write-ups written by the organizers or other players who have solved the challenges themselves, and simultaneously being aware of the various difficulty levels.
Now for the most awaited moment of this video, we are very glad to inform you that National Institute of Technology Durgapur is now listed as a university in Hack the Box, where you can be part of it. The link is given in the description, and do check it out. We believe that after watching this video, you definitely have a good understanding of cybersecurity and CTF. We also have compiled the resources, and the link is present in the description below. Do like this video, and if you found it helpful, do share it with your fellow hackers. For more content, subscribe to our channel. We'll be back with more resources. Until then, happy hacking, and may the source be with you.